Hammond City Council special meeting, Monday, October 19th, 2020. Roll call, please.
Councilman Andrews.
Present.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Present.
Councilman Wells.
Present.
Councilman Victoria.
Present.
Councilman Leon.
Present.
I'll ask you to stand for our prayer, followed by the pledge, and ask Councilman Andrews to lead us in prayer.
Most gracious, loving, eternal Father, we just thank you right now, giving you glory, giving you honor that is due your name, Father God. Thank you for this day. Father God, if there's ever a time we need you right now, Father. Thank you for continuing to look down upon us. Give us the grace and the mercy that we so desire of you right now. Father God, we ask you to touch our hearts, touch our minds, and we lean not to our own understanding. Father God, we just come right now for strength and guidance and peace. I ask you to continue to bless our city, country, and our state. Continue to bless our police department. Continue to bless our fire department. They continue to protect us and service in our community. Continue to bless the council and their families. Continue to give us wisdom and knowledge from on high. Continue to bless our city administration. Continue to move forward in the endeavors that are set before us right now. Father God, we thank you that everything tonight will be done decent, order, pleasing, and in your sight. Therefore, you will get all glory, all honor, and all praise. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Now for our pledge, I'll ask all military men to come to salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For our only agenda item tonight, review and discussion of the proposed ordinance to rezone 41.75 acres from RS8 to IL, requested by Roundtable Investments LLC, located at 2100 Industrial Park Road. And I'm going to turn it over to Councilman Andrews, but before I do, I just wanted to thank particularly the IT department for the city of Hammond. They did a lot of work today, and then the rec department for putting this logistically together. And I think that they deserve some recognition, so thank you. Councilman Andrews.
Again, I'd like to echo on what Councilwoman Gonzalez just said about the IT department and the recreation department getting things set in place for us this evening. Again, I'd like to say good evening to everyone that's here on this evening. As we begin to move forward in tonight, all right, there we go. After I finish speaking tonight, I'm going to turn it over and let Medline do their presentation first. And what I'm asking is for the following subdivisions that I have here to have a representative to speak on their behalf: Oak Knoll, Oak Ridge, Oak Creek, Pine Hill, Country Club Estates. If I missed any of those other subdivisions, just let me know. Also, those will be represented. They have 10 minutes to speak. Then we will open it up to the floor after that as well for any additional comments to be made, and that would be on a 3-minute basis. So right now what I'll do is ask everybody to be cordial to one another. Let's do everything decent and in order. And at this time I'll ask for the representative for Medline to please come up, please.
Good evening, everybody. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. We really appreciate it. My name is Dimitri Dukin. I'm Vice President of Real Estate, Facilities, and Security for Medline Industries. I've been in business about 30 years. I've been with Medline about 6 years. And as we're looking at currently at the site, trying to make a decision to move forward. Can I take it off? Okay. Thank you. Can you hear me now? Thank you. I apologize. Okay. All right. My name is Dimitri Dukin. I'm Vice President of Real Estate, Facilities, and Security for Medline Industries. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you guys coming out here, and I'll stay here for as long as I need to answer any questions that you and the community may have. So to begin with, I wanted to do a quick presentation, a few slides, just tell you a little bit more about Medline, who we are, what we do, and about what this facility would look like, and hopefully to address some of the concerns and questions and misconceptions that some of you may have. Can we go to the next slide? Can you guys see that slide? No, well, okay. Okay. So it's not going to take long, but Medline Industries, we're the nation's fastest growing medical manufacturing and distribution company. Started in 1910, and today we have over 650,000 of hospital products and services. We are the #1 U.S. healthcare company. When it comes to items like PPE, we're the top provider in the United States. We have over 50 years of consecutive growth. This year we achieved $17 billion in sales worldwide. We have 0 debt. We're owned out of Chicago. We have over 25,000 employees and includes about 1,800 field salespeople. We do have about 200 locations worldwide. Next slide, please. Thank you. We cover the entire continuum of care, from physician offices to hospitals to nursing homes, retirement communities, military bases, disaster preparedness, whether it's Katrina or any other disaster. We are the first responder to first responders. The 650,000 of product and services we carry in our supply chain pretty much includes everything inside the hospital with an exception of pharmaceuticals. We do carry vaccines, but everything else we carry, from your masks and gowns and ventilators and chairs and every type of surgical instruments. Everything we do is the next day delivery. So every kind of surgery, whether it's birth or brain surgery, we deliver the next day. The next slide, please. This is just an example of the 650,000 types of product and services. Every type of surgical instrument, every type of topical cream, adult incontinence products, baby diapers, everything and anything inside the hospital. Next slide, please. I just wanted to reiterate a few points. For the last 12 years, we've been the best 150 healthcare company to work for in the United States. We are deeply ingrained in all the communities we're in. We have 50 distribution centers across the United States. They're owned free and clear by the company. We believe in working together with the community to solve any concerns and questions. We'll show some of the pictures of where we work and live really close to the communities. The reason we want to expand here today, we've been in St. Tammany, Covington area for the last 15 years. We outgrew that facility. We leased 130,000 square foot here in Hammond for the last 2 years, and we want to grow to a 700,000 square foot facility. This site will address all the hospital supply chain needs in the state of Louisiana, southern Mississippi, and parts of Kansas and Arkansas. Texas and Arkansas. As we go further, we'll address the safety, security, and the value of this specific location. Can we move to the next one, please? So I know questions are going to come up about our fleet. What do we drive? These are the examples of what our fleet is. We have parcel vans, we have straight trucks, and we have 16-wheel trucks. Today, we've got about 10 to 15 trucks that are going all throughout the day. Typically, it's between 6 a.m. and 11 p.m. As we'll go in, the maximum at our new site is going to be 40 to 60 trucks throughout the day. And when I say trucks, it includes parcel vans, box trucks, and 16-wheel trucks. We are testing out today electric parcel vans throughout the country. We don't have a commitment yet as to when all of our fleet is going to be electric, but obviously, as you learn more about the company, that's a way we're moving towards to electrify our fleet. The next one, please. So these are the 3 examples are in Denver, in Maryland, and in Lacey, Washington, of where our facilities are right next to really large, dense, and residential areas. We've met with folks, just like we're meeting today. We've addressed their concerns, and you can go online, you look for things. You're not going to find any because we take care of all the issues. The reason we own this free and clear is because we want to be part of the corporate citizen for the area. We're not going anywhere. We'll never go anywhere. So once we put our roots in, we're going to be here forever. And so we want to make sure we do things right, whether it means relieving the flood control, addressing noise issues, eliminating light pollution, any of those issues that come up from any of you guys. We will address it today as much as we can, and then on the 27th as well. The next one, please. So these are the bullet points I'm going to go through. I've addressed some of them. So this is a $45 million project. We've got, at full capacity, we'll generate about $1 billion worth of product sales out of that facility. It's 350 construction jobs. To build a facility, it will be owned, no debt. We'll have 450 jobs here that will generate about $25 million in annual payroll. In addition to that, we'll have about $1.5 million to $2 million in annual upkeep for the site. That's just the economic impact to the site. We take care of our folks. We have one of the lowest turnovers in the industry, and we get there by having competitive pay and great benefits. 401k with a match, every type of insurance, paid vacation, sick time, and COVID-19 time as well, paid time off. The facility, there's going to be additional 2,000 indirect jobs between the logistics, healthcare, maintenance, retail, and airport of what we're planning to support with this facility. The size of facility right now is over 600,000 square feet. We were going to do 1 million square foot in St. Tammany. In this location, it's a 600,000 square foot site, which means about 45% of the location of these 42 acres will be impacted by the construction. So call it 22, 23 acres will remain green, and the 22 acres will be impacted by the building footprint and the parking footprint. It's 10% of the location will be office for us and office for some of our potential customers, other healthcare systems that sometimes co-locate with us. The facility will be LEED certified, which means it's the most environmentally friendly way to build a facility. It's 40-foot concrete insulated panels with large amount of windows. We'll see the pictures later as well. We'll have solar on the roof. We'll have double the amount of floodplain for the site from 100 currently planned to 200. We're willing to reach out to adjacent areas and redirect some of the flood risk onto our property because we're going to oversize the protection for the site. Let's see, additionally, millions obviously in new real estate taxes, inventory, and other taxes for the community. We talked about the trucks. Today we have 10 to 20 trucks. It will be 40 to 60 trucks at maximum growth, and that includes vans, box straight trucks, and the 16-wheel trucks. I talked about the reducing the flood risk. But beyond that, we talked about assisting with roundabout. We were approached to contribute to the roundabout on 180 and Industrial Parkway. We're absolutely open to that. Traffic light or roundabout. Relief to adjacent properties for any kind of flood risks. Ensure that there is no light noise or light disturbance by making sure that the actual light fixture is covered and shoots down directly. We've done that before. Actually, our current facility in Covington, which is next to the residential neighborhood as well. We have a $500,000 grant today from the state that we can contribute towards that roundabout or any other needs that specifically the neighborhood can have. So the next slide, please. That's it. So this is just an example of inside the office. We try to create wonderful environment for our employees with relaxation tables, with great office fun environment. Again, we're the reason you exist since 1910 and grow at 15-20% a year and are a top 150 company to work for the United States is because we do what we say we're going to do. We do the best we can. We'll answer your questions with absolute honesty. We'll tell you why. And whatever risks, concerns you may have, we will address them. And that will be a requirement as we work with your town, with your parish. We'll commit to do those things up front so that there are no games. So whatever I need to answer today, to you, the council, to you, the folks, I'm happy to do so. That's it.
Thank you. Hit the lights, please. All right, we'll get someone from Oak Knoll to come up, please.
lot easier to talk with it when it's right close by. My name is Buck Brignac, 25 Pine Court, Oak Knoll Estates. I'm one of the people here representing our neighborhood. We are one of the 5 neighborhoods, I guess you mentioned, that are around the area. We are the ones that are in the city limits. Why we're cherry-picked to be in the city, you know, we were annexed back in 1986 when that neighborhood was first done. So, and although you did mention those 5 neighborhoods in the area, which entail about 313 homes, there's also Country Club Estates, Country Club Gardens, Green Acres, Vineyard Trace, Pine Hill, Skinner Road, okay, all of these making up another 533 residences. So in total, that whole area impacted, you're talking 850 houses that are there now. Okay, so there's a lot of houses, a lot of people, and it's a lot of residences that are there. Along the right-hand side, I know they named that boulevard Industrial Boulevard. You could have picked every one. The next one is Coburn Road. That could have been Coburn Road. Okay, there's only 3 industries on that right there right now. This will be the 4th one. This will take up all the area. And so one of the things, you know, we're going to be following along this master plans that we have. And sorry, I was hoping to get one of these credenzas there, but I'll try to go through it. The master plan, okay, and in case you can't see me, you can hear me. So that comprehensive master plan pretty much for Hammond, that was done in July 2011. Of course, that was done 4 or 5 years after Katrina, so there was a definite need for that. 197 pages of it. There's a lot of great information in there, and I questioned the council last time to please go back and read and see what that, all of the people, all of the hundreds of hours that went into that master plan to make sure that we kind of address everything and not cherry pick pretty much like the residents that were here at the zoning board meeting. Okay, we had to feel like we were cherry picked. Okay, we didn't get listened to because the zoning board was supposedly only had a week to look at things, but yet they handed out about 20 of these papers. Now, we had about 100 and so people there, okay? But on this paper, it basically picks out about 5 areas out of that 197 pages to say, hey, here's what we're doing to justify why we want to change that to industrial zoning. And one of the bigger things going through a lot of that is to consider adopting an overlay plan for the airport, which I don't think has been done yet, but basically worrying about the area around the airport, that it should all be considered industrial for future use. That way the neighbors won't be complaining about other things around it. I'm not quite sure, okay, that you can get around people complaining when we live around the neighborhood. We do it, you do it, but what I envision that master plan and what the people that were there were talking about is the industrial area around the airport. When you look at the airport, to the left of the airport is all industrial. That's the Del Champs and all of that area that was built up. Okay, even back before, you know, after all that was there, Industrial Boulevard on the right was already all residential for the most part. Okay, in our neighborhood, we've only had 2 new residents there since this all came out. So they've got a lot of people, and this is where we invested our money to build. Okay, we wanted the same thing that when this master plan was done, you look at the city of Hammond's plan, they wanted to have neighborhoods where you could feel comfortable walking around, walking to your neighborhood grocery and stuff like that, I guess. If you're going to live out in a rural area, you don't mind driving the car and coming, you know, the 2 minutes to go up to the Piggly Wiggly. But yet we really love that we can walk in our neighborhoods. I can go from my neighborhood down to my daughter's neighborhood, okay, 1 mile away in Vineyard Trace on bicycles, okay, on the golf carts. All of us pretty much feel that this is our community out that way. Although we're not in the city limits for the most part, most of the people. So it's kind of one of these hard things that now we have this city plan, we have a city council that's going to judge. All of a sudden, a lot of people don't have any talk about it because they're not in the city limits. So I've got a lot of kind of stuff I want to go through. I'll try to go into my 10 minutes, but one of the introduction and the visions of the master plan pretty much is that it's going to be a living document. Okay, that means it can flex and go as you see different needs or whatever. The document is not set in stone. It basically, the city of Hammond wanted to ensure that the future development preserves and enhances the existing neighborhoods. That's the first line in the goals of what the plan is. Okay, and this is us. This is our existing neighborhoods. We have nothing against Medline. Okay, not at all. Okay, it's just a matter of These are some concerns that we have because we have invested in our properties, okay? When you look at Oak Knoll Estates, we've got 90 homes there, okay? Our value, pretty much our assessed value, is over $22 million in those 90 homes. We put in $125,000 every year in property taxes to the parish, $45,000 to the city. So there's a lot of money that, you know, we don't get homestead exempt out there because we all have very nice homes, and it's very mixed. We have every race and creed, whatever that we have out there, and we're all great neighbors. So I want to look at that and basically say, where do we want, okay, to be able to put an industry that size, okay, the size of that, those same 40 acres or whatever that are there, that's the same size as my whole neighborhood. Our neighborhood is 42 acres, okay? The Superdome, I love the article in the newspaper, talked about the Superdome. That Superdome covers 20-something acres. So we really got to look at the massive size that's going to cover pretty much a lot of that area and throw the water, drainage water back there into our neighborhoods. What happens right now, we're not worried about the 100-year flood, okay, or the 10-year flood. We deal with it every year. My next-door neighbor is finally getting his house raised 3 feet by FEMA after his house got flooded, okay, I think probably about 12 years ago before he actually moved in. Mine pretty much, my house is usually within 2 to 3, probably say 3 to 4 inches of getting flooded out every time we have a rainstorm. And at the next meeting, I've got the videos to show you. Okay, our neighborhood in the back side of it, okay, all the streets are flooded. And it's a matter of, that wasn't in the May storm pretty much, it was just a normal rainstorm. We have to pump the water out of our loop to hurry and get it across the street. Okay, that's another kind of issue. There's just a lot of flood area out there that we can hopefully get to deal with. Hopefully, if it does happen, you will help get those concerns, because what's happening right now, since that area back there was clear cut, okay, those trees pretty much, one of the guys that came over from FEMA, or from the city actually, when they were assessing the FEMA property next to me, we were talking about the oak trees and the trees that are there, and he's like, you know what, that one oak tree pretty much on your front property absorbs 500,000 gallons a day of water. It has that capability of doing it. And basically all that area that was cleared back there for something to come in, okay, now those trees, and that's why some of the neighbors are having problems pretty much with the flooding that goes on. So lots of different things, but a couple of things, like I said, on the next meeting I'll be prepared with my slideshow. When you look at your master plan, this Hammond plan was done in conjunction with the major street plan. And that major street plan kind of shows that, hey, University Boulevard is going to take an extension and extend out all the way over here to Pride Boulevard, up to Pride Lane, to the airport, and come up Pride, and then come up to the airport. So further leading credits to, my industry is over on the left side of the airport, not the right side. Okay? There's future roadways that are planned there that need to be done, and that's where that future growth should be happening when it's talking about at the airport. Since this was done, if you look and see what's happened out there along Airport Road and 190, okay, we've got 5 new warehouses out there right at that intersection. There's a new one that's done further out on 190, a new property there that was expanded out, okay, away from around pretty much the residential area that's there. Okay, it's followed along the major arteries there, along 190, along that road that's going out to the airport. So, you know, that pretty much should be what's considered to be your area where we should be expanding to for industry, not in the middle of the neighborhoods. Yes.
I was just saying 1 minute.
Oh, I got 1 minute? All right. One of the things, too, so that's what you'll see, a lot of petitions that are coming up, pretty much with and it's basically with the Uniform Development Code, okay, for the City of Hammond on Article 2.3.3, okay, item number 4, the review criteria. I want to make sure that you as a city council, you should consider the following in approving or disapproving this, pretty much, that the proposed zoning amendment is consistent with the area designated already. It should be consistent with that. It should reinforce the existing or planned character of the neighborhood. Okay, so it should be something that's going to work for us. The site is appropriate for the development allowed in that district. There are substantial reasons why the property cannot be used according to the existing zone, which is residential zone right now. So there's nothing that's holding that back from being a residence. Okay, and that the zoning map amendment will not substantially or permanently injure the appropriate use of adjacent conforming properties, of which that will no doubt take place. Thank you.
Before we move on to the next one, I have an announcement. Adrian Tolleson, your license has been found. If you're here, it's up here. Okay, go ahead.
Oak Ridge.
My name is Courtney Forbes. I live at 156 Oak Hollow Drive, and I'm happy to be a resident of Oak Ridge neighborhood. Can you? Oh, I'm just thinking it's full of germs. No, I'm sorry, not yours. Okay, how's this? Better? Thank you. I am here to challenge the rezoning request of Roundtable Investments for 41 acres in my neighborhood from residential to industrial. My objections include flooding, traffic, aesthetics, and the degradation of the area in quality and value. The site we're speaking of is a candidate for a warehouse or distribution center planned by Medline Industries, which will be at least 600,000 and possibly 800,000 square feet. The project was faced with tremendous opposition in St. Tammany, where Medline already has an existing smaller facility. To understand the scale of the building, the Mercedes-Benz Superdome is the largest fixed dome structure in the world. The area of the roof is 9.7 acres or 440,000 square feet. So if we're talking 800,000 square feet for the base imprint of the warehouse, you need to approximately double the size of the Superdome roof. That's 800,000 square feet is 18 acres or nearly 14 football fields. The proposal would impose this monstrosity in the middle of a quiet, tree-lined residential neighborhood with no barrier and no transition. Increased flooding can be expected around the perimeter, affecting many roads and homes. Stormwater runoff is just precipitation that runs off-site when it cannot be absorbed. Paving allows absorption of 0% of the rain that falls on it. So the amount of rain falling on this 40-acre site, which is currently undeveloped land with trees and vegetation, which are absorbing and retaining water, this rain will now be pushed off-site, inundating family homes across the street. This stormwater will, in addition, of course, as stormwater does, carry debris, pollutants, and toxic chemicals, which is washed off with the unabsorbed water. Traffic. I have heard mention of the number of trucks. All I can say is the number has changed dramatically in conversations over a time period with St. Tammany. So, the figures I'm hearing, heavy traffic from 150 plus large trucks per day represents noise, road deterioration, traffic snarls, and the hazard of inexperienced drivers heading toward the nearby high school mixing with heavy trucks. Those trucks will be an impediment whether they are navigating adjacent roads or parked by the roadside. Light traffic will increase as well, as we account for shift workers coming and going from the plant. In accordance with the nature of shift work, the additional cars on the road will be clogging up our arteries by generally all arriving and leaving around the same time. Makes sense, right? Turning left from Industrial Park onto 190 now can be delayed at peak traffic times. It promises to be not just a headache, but a hazard if this project goes through. Vehicles driving east or west on 190 when the plant lets out can expect delays and congestion. Traffic congestion wastes time, burns fuel, pollutes the air, and represents a safety hazard and a noise nuisance. The proposed facility, as I have illustrated before, is ginormous. It won't be just a blot on the landscape, it will be a huge eyesore. People like to live near natural vegetation for many reasons. Natural vegetation, natural land increases property values, helps manage water, mitigate pollution. It promotes balanced hydrological and carbon cycles. It dampens noise and diminishes depression and stress. Everyone who ever just wanted a little piece of property out in the country knows that natural land is just good for your soul. Amazingly, the ugliness of scarred and vacant landscapes are not loved, except by someone who can pocket a profit and live and spend their money somewhere far away. Like attracts like. Ugly, noxious industrial development will decrease property values and draw more industry to our immediate vicinity. This is a downward spiral, driving away homeowners and relegating a quiet, peaceful cluster of neighboring streets to the ugly, seamy, industrial back end of a city. And this is being imposed on existing landowners who bought their property with the knowledge that this site was zoned residential. It is a bait and switch, a deception of everyone who chose to settle in this part of town. Rezoning this is no way to keep Hammond beautiful. The company is dancing behind the veil of jobs, jobs, jobs. I don't have a lot of answers. I have some questions. What is the pay scale of the majority of the jobs on offer? Can someone buy a home and raise a family on that salary? If not, the jobs are a boon to the company, not the worker, as the company reaps the rewards, but leaves labor at the back of the line when the necessities of life are on sale. What is the employee turnover rate at Medline's existing facility in St. Tammany? How many new jobs, new hires are going to happen, and how many people are just going to come over from St. Tammany? Is Medline a good place to work, or are the employees unhappy? As unhappy as we will be, as I will be with Medline as a neighbor. Industrial development of this magnitude, scale, and sheer ugliness does not belong on Vineyard Road. What belongs on a beautiful residential zone property could be something like a walkable neighborhood with lots of green space to retain and absorb water, mixed housing to offer opportunities for people of varying incomes to buy a home and build wealth. It could be a place where community thrives, maybe seated in with strategically located small shops or local businesses who can flourish by providing for the needs of the community in a mutually beneficial relationship. Rezoning is wrong, and I urge you to vote against it.
Oak Creek.
This close enough? First, thank you all for putting this together on such short notice and so professionally done. IT team, rec team, council members. I think we all here tonight appreciate it. I do want to point out that this does not represent everybody.
Sir, let me get your name and
Yep,
your address.
absolutely. Trine Horgan, 47150 Weld Way, Oak Creek. 47150 Weld Way, Oak Creek. So as I was saying, I don't want us to get the impression that this is the totality of the people that are upset with this potential development. We have folks watching on YouTube. We have almost 80 signatures from our neighborhood alone that we will be presenting, hopefully, at the next council meeting. My main concern, and one we want to focus on, is traffic. The gentleman here mentioned 40 to 60 at max capacity. Is that correct for a 1 billion sales distribution center that covers all Louisiana, parts of Southwest Mississippi, Arkansas, and the east corner of Texas? I'd like to know how that changed from 60 now to where it was in St. Tammany being almost 180. Those numbers are very different. Thank you. And they represent a figure that seems unrealistic to cover that geography efficiently. Beyond that, you mentioned the workers. I believe probably 15 to 18 an hour starting warehouse salary for somebody at Medline. That's a confirmation. He said yes. So, you know, you're looking at 32 to 35 annual for that individual. That's a dual income household. That shift work from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., that's 2 shifts or 3? 3 shifts. So you're looking at 3 shifts of people coming in and out of our community on a daily basis, Monday through Friday? Or do you work on the weekends on Saturday? Occasionally on weekends as well. So that traffic isn't going to be at the beginning of the work day and the end of the work day. It's going to be consistent. A roundabout's great, but there are other avenues in and out. And these $15 to $18 an hour employees have to punch a clock to make sure that they're there on time. So our little road Vineyard, which our parish president pointed out, is a truck route as well, could become and probably will become a main route for the employees who access the site. That road right now is 45 miles an hour. If you're late for work on that road, it's narrow. I don't know if you had a chance to see it. It'll be very dangerous, not just for us, but for his employees' safety. A $17 million annual sales company can understand that. Employee safety is important. I personally work for a Fortune 500 medical device company as well, similar in sales. Our distribution centers are nowhere near residential communities. We don't do that. We use 3PLs. We use our own. We manufacture our own products worldwide. I don't believe it best serves Medline to service that area and geography that was put forth in, unfortunately, Hammond. I would propose something closer to the I-10, I-12 merge, where you can hit Lafayette, you can hit Baton Rouge, you can hit New Orleans, you can hit the Houston Medical Complex. You're now 90 minutes closer to that. If you're going to Gulfport, you're closer there. You already can go 55, right, if you're here, but come over, you hit 49, you're right there going to Little Rock, which is your only major community hospital center up there. So those parts of it, while it is convenient and I'm sure cost effective to be positioned where you are today in St. Tammany and then even more so in Hammond, logistically speaking, I think they're making a poor decision, and I would hope that we all understand that those types of decisions by a company of their size can be overcome because they're cash heavy. So we as a community are going to eat that decision and take the cash, and we're not going to balance the community development and the business development. If we can get it in Hammond, I'd love to see it somewhere else. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, there's a piece of land that connects 190 to, is that Morris? I don't know the highway for that, but that runs kind of once you hit Vineyard and you come back down, 190 ties in, the Morris right there. There's a piece of property, it's wooded, but it is also 40 acres. And it will be surrounded by industrial, it may be industrial. I don't know why we haven't explored that. We're pigeonholing ourselves to place a 2 times the roof of the Superdome major distribution center right in the midst of 800 homes. And I haven't really heard the pros to why that's got to be the location for this. I don't think anyone here would be opposed to having this in our community if it was in the right location. I just think the issue tonight and the issue you heard, traffic, which 450 at max, what's your starting? 150 to cover the beginning intro, the 15 to 20 trucks is about to be about 150 employees. Full capacity, but you mentioned only needing to do 15 to 20 trucks a day. So doing the math, that's yep, understand. So you're going directly to the hospital on 18-wheelers, big rig trucks, dropping off, loading dock. Cover the state of Louisiana. I handle logistics for the company I discussed. So I get it and I understand what you're doing, and I know that. So that's what concerns me is your ability to do that with the trucks you say you can do it with. It's on the very low end of what you're going to cover. So if you're going to have 150 employees and I'll give you 15 to 20 trucks, we're already at almost 200 extra vehicles a day. You need more trucks. So you're going to use more trucks. Are those just your trucks? Are those all trucks or just the Medline? You use 3PL and LTL. How many of those trucks? Depends on the volume. Okay. So 80% of distribution. So the other 20% is covered by some other trucks we haven't discussed yet. I guess keep that in mind as well. We got a presentation tonight, put numbers on the board, and we got 20% missing. So for your community, take that seriously. We want to be in business with somebody who's going to be transparent. That's important. We don't want to be in business with somebody who may or may not need additional support from us and us not know, or need more from another company, or if you don't get to capacity, you sublease. You own your own building, you lease out space. So we're getting into business with Medline, but if Medline doesn't end up needing all of that space, they will fill it. It's not in their best interest to have unused warehouse space. Do you do that today? Do you fill space? Sometimes you do. Okay. Again, we're going to look at a massive, unprecedented increase in traffic for our own community, and we are going to be ones dealing with it. We can put a roundabout in. We can widen roads. Our road, you know, if you get to Vineyard, they get there. We can't stop them from turning left, right? Because that's a truck route. We can ask they don't, but I don't believe there's anything that can be done to prevent it. That's a truck route. There's the Hammond Industrial Complex right past these two neighborhoods. So we're going to have to deal with that after they've gotten the check and they move on to the next project. So while I appreciate Medline, and you guys do a great job, and I'm thankful for what you did during the pandemic, I would love to see you guys in Tangipahoa or Hammond, just not where you are today and not where you want to go. Thank you.
Pine Hill. Pine Hill. Anyone from Pine Hill? Right. Country Club Estates.
My name is Christy Wiltz. I live at 19280 Country Club Estates, just south of the Country Club, also south of Oak Knoll. And all of that is south of where Medline would like to put their building. And to put it in Hammond perspective, this building is 600,000 plus square feet. Our Walmart is just over 100,000 square feet. So think about if you had more than 6 Walmarts at this location, all put together, that would keep, as Courtney said, there go the trees, the vegetation, but it is a huge issue about draining. And I'm new to Louisiana. I come from up closer to where Medline is. That's 700 feet further when you hit Missouri, or even more when you hit Illinois. Water runs downhill. And as water runs downhill, all of the subdivisions except for Oak Creek and Oak Ridge are downhill of that. And you know what happened in 2016? I moved down here, and in my backyard is a sump pump. I'm like, a sump pump in my backyard? I had one in my basement in Missouri. I understood the purpose of that. Well, now I understand the purpose of a sump pump, because when it rains in Hammond, my backyard gets 2 to 4 inches of water probably 3 or 4 times a year on the rains. I don't trust that Medline is going to be able to do anything about that. And I'm not sure yet if I trust the board, the council, if you are going to do anything about that. I understand the roundabout as an idea, but I'm with somebody else who said, we have young drivers on that road every morning and every afternoon going out to Hammond High. That's a concern, especially with big trucks. So I won't take up my full time, but I do hope that the council really considers this. I agree with the gentleman before. Tangipahoa or Hammond, I think it's a great plan. It's not the only distribution center in the area. There's a Walmart out 190 distribution center, but you can't even see it, and there aren't houses around that. Now, I go every morning and pick my grandson up in Albany to take him to work, and I pass several things on that side that are also distribution centers, like Save-A-Lot, and there's a milk place out there, and there's a Sanderson Farms. But there aren't houses right up against those distribution centers, and those distribution centers are not as big as what this gentleman is suggesting. So I hope that you will take into consideration, this is a small group, because COVID has scared a lot of people from coming here. And if your company really did help people during COVID, I'm like the gentleman before. Thank you. And thank you, Council, for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Okay. All right. Now, just by the show of hands, before I move into the 3-minute comments, but by the show of hands here tonight, those of you that are here to have concerns of drainage, just raise your hand for me. Drainage, all right. Those of you that have concerns of flood issues, raise your hand. All right. Those of you that have concerns of traffic issues, raise your hand. All right. Those of you that have concerns about noise, raise your hand. All right. Now, when we open up the floor for the 3-minute comments, we already have an understanding of that right there. So you don't have to reiterate that when you get up to speak. So those of you that have any other comment that you would like to make, you can make it now. You have 3 minutes.
Whoever gets there first.
Thank you. I'm Charlie Papps. I live in 19340 Country Club Lane. I won't go over all the other issues that everybody brought up. One of the big questions I've got, you left Covington after 15 years. You left Covington after 15 years. My understanding, the reason you left Covington because your tax exemption expired. Are you going to come here, get a tax exemption for 15 years, and then leave this area and we end up with an abandoned building? I hope not, and I would expect not. Air traffic, is air traffic going to increase because of the facility, or is everything coming in over the road? most everything I have to say is traffic drainage, so I won't repeat it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be mindful of my 3 minutes. Aaron Horzelski, 19221 Vineyard Road. Yeah. Now, I liked everything that's been said, and I will not repeat myself, or the other comments. 2 things. As a professor at Southeastern in the biology department, on the corner of a house brand new built on Vineyard and Industrial, we have the big, beautiful white house with the black metal roof. All right, I have a small child. Many of us do. We all have really good comments. It's not about industry. I have a PhD in entomology, which is actually medical entomology. It's not about that. I'm faculty senate president of Southeastern. I ask every one of you, when you walk away in 10 years, it's about Pandora's box. If we say yes to this, what do we say yes to later? That's all I got to say.
At any time, if you want to respond, just let us know, okay?
All right, thank you. This is Frank King, 46471 North Coburn Road.
Sorry, you got to say that again for us.
Frank King, K-I-N-G, 46471 North Coburn Road, Hammond. But I'm outside the parish. I've been outside the city, so I'm one of those guys that property butts property, 500 feet of it. And ever since this property was, whatever happened to it, clear cut, I now have flooding on my property, back of my property, which I can no longer bush hog. I can no longer bush hog because of the runoff. I don't know what you can do to stop that. I know you're not God, so therefore you can't promise that kind of thing. But my purpose here is that I'm not going to rehash what everybody's already said about that, because like I say, I'm not in the city. Now there's others not in the city also. So I'm just hoping that if the council decides to let you come in the property, and again, like I said, we are not against Medline. Nowhere in this world. I think you do a fantastic job. But I'm just concerned about the property where I'm full of water now, where it used to be dry land. So that's all I'm going to say, that just to consider it. Thank you.
Hello, Marcus Gertis, 296 Pinecrest. I just wanted to start off with the fact that the current residential zoning of the property. In RS8, it provides for the raising and keeping of domestic animals, but not on a commercial basis or on a scale unobjectionable to neighboring property owners. So basically, we're going for a RS8 zoning with, back on? Okay. Where basically you can't raise chickens to sell eggs on a commercial basis. To this